Hello and welcome to the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast with your host, Kimberly Dunn of Idlewild Horsemanship and Mindset Coaching. This podcast is here to bring you the very best in tips, tricks, and advice to help you better understand yourself, your mindset, and your horse, because your horsemanship starts with you. Let's go. Hello, welcome back to the Horsemanship and Mindset podcast. I am, as always, absolutely delighted to have you here. I hope you've had a great week and I hope you're ready to tune into today's episode, which is an interview episode. It has been a while since I've done one of these, but the lady I'm interviewing today just had to come on the podcast because we worked together last year. I think even it's just a little over 18 months ago we worked together. And it has been quite the mindset journey for this lady. And to see the reels that she is posting and the videos and the photos and all the things she's doing with her horse, it has been such a journey for her to be doing what she's doing now back if you track it back to where she was before then. So it's a delight for me this week to be interviewing Valentina Testa, who you may or may not know from Instagram. She is known on Instagram as the Spotty Horse because she has a spotty horse called Pegs, who's beautiful. And Valentina was in a place where she wasn't enjoying riding anymore. She had given up, actually. Had totally lost her confidence and wanted to make a change, and we worked together and everything changed. And since then, she has come on leaps and bounds and is now out cantering her horse in open fields. She's having a little dabble jumping again, and she, most importantly, is absolutely loving life with her horse. So just for a little more context, the package that we worked through together was Recalibrate. So that is my 4-session package. So that's where we work on mindset. So we do some mindset coaching. I educate you on nervous system regulation. We do some hypnotherapy. There's lots of support in between the calls. And it basically takes you from a place where you are fed up and you're not confident to feeling confident and having the tools to understand yourself, understand what's going on in your mind, and have the tools to change that. And then, of course, there's hypnotherapy magic in there. So there's a lot of rewiring that goes on too. So I hope you enjoy today's interview. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you find it insightful. And I would like to say a big thank you to Valentina as well, because she shares some really, really vulnerable things in this episode. And I hope in listening to it, it helps you to not feel alone if you feel the same way, because there's so many of us out there that don't feel confident and do feel, frustrated with ourselves or shameful or all those things. And actually, this is like a normal thing that we go through, especially as equestrians. And a big thank you to Valentina for sharing everything that she did. So without further ado, let's dive into the interview. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am marvellous, thank you. Marvellous. It's been 18 months since we worked together. And the main reason why I wanted to get you on the podcast was because I am absolutely loving seeing all these reels you keep posting of you out looking so happy, gallivanting around the country on your horse, cantering everywhere on your own.
Yes.
I kept seeing it over and over again. And I was like, right, we need to talk because we worked together. And at the beginning of our time together, this was the dream. This was what you wanted to be able to do.
Yep.
And you're living it now.
We're living it. Living the dream.
And I couldn't be happier to see it. So let's go back in time to when we had like our first chat and we first started working together. Where were you back then, mentally and emotionally, with your horse?
I was definitely in quite a dark place, I'd say. So I think by that point she had already been in retirement. I chose to retire her because I just didn't have any confidence whatsoever to ride her. I suppose for a little bit of context for any listeners as well. Years ago, when I first met Peg, things were a bit rocky to begin with. But then things, sort of started to fall into place. And then one day, unfortunately, we had a bit of a jumping accident. And I thought that maybe I would either just bounce back as normal, or maybe I would have lost my confidence a little bit with jumping, but I'd be fine doing everything else. That was sadly not the case for me. I lost my confidence with absolutely everything, and I couldn't even tack up without having a mental breakdown. So I did choose to retire her because I just didn't feel like it was working, but I would never have, I'd never have sold her or anything like that. She had just turned 20, so I thought retirement will be perfect for you now. We've achieved everything that I wanted to together. Maybe it took a little bit longer than it would have for others, but so she'd had her retirement, and then it wasn't working. She wasn't happy at all. And that was when she come out of retirement, and that's when we started working together. So back then I think it was just a bit of a mess. I think it was all over the place. All I wanted was to be able to tack up my horse and go for a ride. And that sounds so simple, but back then it really wasn't. It was horrific. I was constantly looking at other people thinking, I want that. Like, I want what you've got. I want to just be able to get on my horse and go for a hack. Like, why can't I do that? Like, why can you? Like, what's wrong with me? And I always thought, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why am I like this? But I did sort of come to realize that it wasn't necessarily what I was doing that was wrong. It was everything in my head. So, like, I would create an issue before anything had ever even happened. And that's where it all started to go very much downhill, I'd say.
Yeah. And do you know what? And I've said this to you before anyway, and I do say it quite a lot, but it's so common. And whenever anyone comes to work with me, it's never like, oh, I want to go and compete in the Olympics, or I want to go and do, it's never anything big and lofty. It's always
Yeah.
just, I just want to be able to tack up my horse and go for a ride and feel
Yeah.
calm and actually enjoy it. And it's as simple as that. And I always get this. It's like an almost apologetic kind of response, like, it's nothing big, and
Yeah.
everybody says it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sadly so common. Um, so what were the biggest fears or thoughts in particular that were popping up for you at that time?
It was always a what if. So it was always what if she spooks. Like with the open field thing again, I suppose for a bit of context for listeners, I Peg has never particularly been the best riding in open fields, due to her previous owners. They basically taught her that open fields mean gallop. And if you don't let her do that, she will have a tantrum. So she would effectively be led down the long side of a field. The person leading her would let go. The rider would do a 180 and just full pelt back up the field. And that is all she ever knew. That's why I could never ride her in an open field, because you'd get so far and she'd think, oh, we're turning round, we're turning round. And then she'd basically just turn around whether you're sat on her back anymore or not. And she'd do what she knew. So that's why we had a lot of problems riding in open fields. But the what ifs that I used to have was, what if she spooks? What if she books? Because her go-to, if she's feeling a little bit spicy or a little bit excited, she likes to throw in a little book every now and then. But also because she is so sensitive to me and to sort of my moods and how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling really tense and nervous, she just goes very, very sharp, and sort of it's just a lose-lose situation, because I'm obviously on board pooping myself, and she's what comes across as just taking the mick out of me because she's gone really sharp. She's spooking at everything, and it's just a disaster. Whereas obviously I know that that's not the case. She's just picking up on all of these emotions, and she's probably thinking, "Mum's in flight mode, so what are we scared of? I don't know what to do now." But it was always the what ifs. So if I went for a hack, what if this happens? What if that happens? And it was always just never giving things a chance because I was always sticking in a, well, don't get too excited about going for a ride today because what if this happens? What if there's a shark in a puddle and it actually bites her legs off? Do you know what I mean? Like little things like that that was so dramatic looking back, so dramatic in my head. None of them have ever happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it so funny how our brain like is so
Oh,
creative
yeah.
at coming up with all the ways that it can go
Yeah.
wrong? And yeah, it's very unfortunate that it does that because it's
Very
completely
annoying
unhelpful.
as well.
Okay, so was there a specific moment then when you're trying to get back into work with pegs where you just felt like I cannot keep doing this anymore? This whole like spiraling and the running into those confidence issues, but also then trying to bring her back into work. Was there one moment
Um,
in particular?
I suppose so. So when she was retired, I just thought, "Well, that's it. I'm never gonna ride ever again because I don't even have the confidence to ride my own horse, so of course I'm not gonna ride anyone else's." That wasn't actually the case because I was riding my friend's horse, at the time. It took, it was baby steps to get back into it a little bit for me, but I was sort of riding him. I'd gone out for loads of rides, but I was doing quite a lot with this other horse. And then it was just I think it was 8 months in total that she was retired for. Towards the end of that, she just was not happy at all. And I would think to myself, I'm here riding this horse, going out for rides, doing cross country, having the most amazing time. And my horse is unhappy in a field. Like, this can't carry on. Like, I need to do something about this. And that is when I chose to move her away from that field, move her back onto a yard, start doing more things with her. She was incredibly overweight back then as well. Obviously, 8 months living in a field, just getting fat with her friends, basically. And I honestly thought that she would like retirement because she is quite a greedy pony. She loves
Uh,
being out in the field, and I thought she'd really enjoy it, but she didn't. She was becoming quite feral in a way. Even though I was still there every day, I still saw her every day. The field was only about 5 minutes away from home, so I'd walk my dog down to the field and, I'd feed her, I'd brush her, I'd do everything with her, but she was becoming quite feral and a little bit aggressive as well, which was quite strange, but, like, aggressive towards me. And that was when I thought, "This isn't right, like, I'm not sure what's wrong." So that was probably one of the biggest moments where I've thought, like, something has to change, but then also with her coming back into work, I've still got the videos from when I first sat on her after retirement. They're horrific. They're absolutely horrific. I'm literally this big ball of nerves just sat on this very whale-like pony because she was so overweight. And it's just the tension is blindingly obvious from the camera, and you can see that in both me and her. So after a while, my go-to if I get nervous is to pull. And that's why I had to make the decision to go bitless, because when I get nervous and I pull, she tells me off. Of
mm,
course she would. I won't want my teeth yanking out either. So little changes like that, but it constantly, like every time I would get on, it was just like, I hate this. Like, I don't know why I've even bothered. Like, I'm just,
mm,
we're not going to get anywhere. So when you constantly have those thoughts in your head, it's just like, we can't carry on like this. Either something needs to change or you need to stay in retirement this time. We're going to have to make it work somehow because I just can't ride you anymore. But I knew that the dream was still there. Like, I wanted to ride her, but I just couldn't,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. Well, sounds like it was, yeah, that was pretty tough for everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, what a contrast to now.
I know. It's crazy.
It's just, yeah,
It is crazy.
so good. Okay, so before we worked together, was there anything you tried previous to that, like mindset wise, confidence
Um,
wise?
Not really, unless we can count this. So I really wanted to ride. I'd reached a point where I thought, you're back on a yard, we've got facilities, we need to get the weight off you because you're rather large at the moment. um, we need to do something about this. So like the desire was there to want to ride, but I just didn't have the confidence to just go and ride.
Mm.
So I would do things like one day I would tack up and I would just sit on her for like a minute. And then I could say I've done it. And then I'd get off. And I thought, great, that's it. I've done it. Well done. But then I thought that's not really doing much for her weight. So I then try and do things like I'll get on and I'll just walk a circle and then I'll get back off again. And that's it, job done for the day. I tried to sort of stick to things like that, but it just didn't work because, and this is where another one of those horrible, annoying little demons sinks in because I'm like, this feels ridiculous. I've had this horse, I can't remember how many years by that point, but say 10 years by that point, and I'm terrified to ride it to a point where I'm just going to walk a circle and then get off. Like, the embarrassment that I felt having had this horse for so many years and
Mm.
I was petrified to get on. So I just kind of gave up a little bit and kind of just stuck to groundwork. But other than sort of trying to set myself tiny little goals,
Yeah.
I'd never sort of reached out to anyone or tried anything else. No.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, what a cycle you're in there, hey,
I
where
know.
you were feeling that way and then you were beating yourself up for feeling that way, getting frustrated with yourself, which
Yeah.
unfortunately when people do that, what then happens is because you're like trying to punch down that part of you that's scared, the part of you
Yeah.
that's scared then gets even bigger.
Yeah.
Just yeah, total disaster.
It's disaster, an absolute disaster. Yeah. But in that moment, you don't know where to go with it. You're just like, well, I'm never going to get out of this dark hole I'm just going to live in forever. So I might as well just give up. And it's amazing how the go to is, I'll just give up then.
Yeah.
Because you can't, it's like there's no one in there to have a conversation with and say, like, no, we're not going to give up. We're going to do this. And it's like, no, we'll just give up. It's easier,
Yeah.
safer. We just
It's
won't bother anymore. It's crazy how easy that is to go to. And that's
yeah.
exactly what I did so many times.
Yeah, it's the path of least resistance, definitely. And that's what your mind prefers because it
Yeah.
is easier, you know. Um but I mean, and you were like breaking things down like you were. That's good. That's a good thing to be doing. But it just shows you that yeah, okay, you can do one thing, one kind of step in the right direction. But if then you don't back it up with
Yeah.
things like nervous system regulation and shifting your mindset and things like that, and just getting support
Yeah.
and having
Yeah.
someone hold your hand almost,
Yeah.
and keeping you so accountable and so you're consistent and things like the difference that then we had when we worked together. That's what made the shift, and it wasn't me stepping in and waving a magic wand. It was you
Yeah.
doing the work too.
I mean, over the years, I mean, I'm not from a horsey family at all. I'm the only person in my entire family that's interested in horses. So I never had that support from family. I only really had it from friends. But because, I'd moved her from a yard, she then went into retirement. I didn't really have that close friendship group in the horsey world. The closest I had is my partner, Sean, who
Yeah.
isn't horsey at all, but he understands the journey that I've been on.
Mm.
So he would try and help, but if ever I said, no, I just don't want to do it today, he'd be like, okay, let's not do it then. So obviously in my head, over time, it's like, well, I can get out of it easily because he's not going to make me do it. So again, that's just another thing that I always did. I thought if I'm not really feeling it or I just wasn't confident enough and didn't know how to try and do something, I'd just be like, no, I'm not going to do it because he's not going to make me do it. So easy get out, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So what was the biggest shift, do you think, for you when we worked together? So we did the package that we worked through was Recalibrate. So that's the 4-session package, just for listeners that don't know. What was the biggest shift for you during that process?
I think where you start to reach a point where those little what ifs that start to creep in and you're like, oh, I'm not going to do it because what if this happens? I think the day where you start to think, but what if it doesn't? Like if I'm about to get on and I think, oh God, what if she spooks at that and throws me off? The other part of my head would be saying, but what if she doesn't? You could just be thinking that for no reason whatsoever. Like just give it a go. At least then you can say you've tried.
Yeah.
The day that sort of more positive thoughts start to creep in and then they start to sort of outweigh the negative ones, that was quite a big step for me because it almost just felt like it happened overnight and that I was like, oh, yesterday I didn't want to do this, but like today I'm like all for it. And like what's changed? And it is just it's the thinking more positively and not letting those horrible negative demons, as we call them, just take over your entire brain and just stop you from doing something that deep down you really want to do.
Yeah.
So I think just finding myself just like when we first moved to the yard that we're at now, for example, the first time we went in the arena, I just got on and just started riding. Whereas in the past, I would never have done that ever. I would walk her around in hand so that I know that she'd seen all four corners. None of them were scary. And I'd do everything on the ground first. Whereas this time, I just got on and it was like, wow, did I just do that? Like, that's crazy. So just noticing things like that over however long it was, even in like the first week after we'd had session number one,
Yeah.
and just going through like the breathing techniques and just being a lot more positive. I think that was one of my New Year's resolutions actually that year, wasn't it? To just be more positive and to stop knocking myself down before I'd even tried anything.
That's awesome. So yeah, that combination then of kind of the self-awareness
Yeah.
of, catching those thoughts when they pop up, rather
Yeah.
than like them popping up and you being consumed, you're kind of aware of them and then questioning them and being like, hang on a minute. Okay, well, what if actually everything's fine?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I always thought about it in a very strange way, but hear me out. So, if there was a really horrible person that knocked at your door, you've got the choice whether you let them in or not. You're not going to let them in, are you? Because you know that they're horrible and all they do is put you down. If you've got the opposite and someone that's really nice and they're like, you can do this and they're really supportive and encouraging, you're going to let them in.
Yeah,
So, why am I going to let the nasty person into my head when I wouldn't let them through my front door? Do you know what I
that's
mean? And
awesome.
that was
Yeah.
it was such a like, no, get out my head. Like I don't need to think about things like that. There aren't any snakes in the fence that are going to jump out and bite her legs off. Why would you even say that? Like it's not even possible. And we replace it with things like we could be about to have the most amazing flatwork session ever, but I'm not going to know unless I give it a go. So let's just give it a go and see how we get on.
I love that. That is so good. I love yeah, if someone comes to your door and they're going to be horrible to you, yeah, of course. Why would you blooming let them in?
Exactly. You'd slam that door right in their face and say, piss off.
Thank you, love today. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. Okay, so let me just refer back to my questions because I've accidentally scrolled past, I think. Da, 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 da. Okay, so nowadays, then. So nowadays, what we are seeing on your Instagram is you out cantering, loving life, enjoying riding in the arena, enjoying
Yeah,
being out cantering. What was the other thing? Oh, you were jumping again as well, I
I
see.
did give it a go. I did.
Which was just, again, I just saw that and I was like, yes, yes, I love this. So people then that are, that are scrolling through, that see your content, that see you out doing all these things, um, what do they're not going to realize, that you started off here. So what do you think is the biggest thing that, you know, you would like people to realize about what's gone on behind the scenes there? Because we do this, we scroll through social media and we see people at at the level and doing the things that you're doing now and thinking, oh, it's just come naturally to her. And there's going to be people looking at your stuff now and thinking, oh, I wish I could ride like that aren't confident.
Yeah, I know. I know. So I think, I mean, if I could, you know, sit on top of the universe and tell every single person about this video that I've just posted and like, I can't believe this is where we're at now compared to where we were a year ago.
Mm.
I think And this is why I'm so against people that judge. I mean, I know social media, you're going to get people like that, but I could post a video. I mean, in every single video that I post similar to those, there's always a pattern. And that pattern is I am holding my neck strap. And I don't care if people are like, oh my God, why are you holding a neck strap? I'm like, oh, what's wrong with you? That neck strap has bought me so much security. And I don't really understand why, but if that stops me from pulling on the reins, which then causes her to be like, get off my face. Um, that that's I don't care about that. I will hold my neck strap and ride through every field without a care in the world. But I think no one knows really everything that's happened in the past, from I mentioned it very, very briefly about the jumping accident that we had. Simply because every now and then I do still get that little bits of it feels like embarrassment. It's not embarrassment, but I'm not really sure what word to use, where you sort of think, wow, I've had this horse 15 years. And realistically, we've probably had maybe 6, 7 years where we've actually done stuff and achieved stuff. The rest of it has just been up, down, up, down, up, down, retired, give up. So I think I would love everyone to know like the full story of what happened so that they can see why this is such a big deal for me now. Because I mean, she's just turned 24 years old. I'm 27. We're not getting any younger. And after all those years, we finally achieved what to someone else is something so basic. Like we've achieved now in 2026, we can canter through a field without any problems whatsoever. Some people would be like, that's not a big deal at all. Like that's like nothing. Like anyone can just canter through a field. Whereas I, for so long, couldn't, whether it was because of her spicy behavior that she used to have, or because my head was just like, we cannot do this. Like, we're not doing it. We're not giving it a go. It's too scary. We're going to die. Let's not do it. And it was very dramatic. So I think like, obviously people that watch my videos on social media, those that have followed me for a while, they know bits about my confidence journey and where I've been and, how far we've come. I do always try and post the bad bits as well because it's reality. I'm not here to just show you the good bits. I don't actually have any videos right now of me falling off, otherwise I would post those. If I did have those videos, they would be online. But I do think it's important to show the bad bits as well and show that yes, I've had this horse 15 years and it's taken me so many years to get confident enough to just canter her through a field, which to some people might be so basic and just not really mean anything. But I don't think people really understand anyone's story
Yeah.
unless it's talked about. And obviously, I don't talk about it in this much detail because otherwise my Instagram stories would be 14 hours long and I don't think I'll watch them.
And then you'd only get the really dedicated stalkers watching
Yes,
every single bit.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, but I think you should. I don't think you should dumb it down, like where you think, oh, people might be seeing that and thinking, oh, it's only cantering in a field, because like we said at the beginning, there are so many people that is a big deal, and that is
Yeah.
what they want to be able to do.
And obviously to me that's a huge deal. But it's just social media, isn't it?
Oh,
You're gonna get those people that are like, and
oh yeah,
so?
yeah,
Okay, great, you did that. That's not that great. You're gonna get people like that. I luckily don't really have people like that. So like across Instagram and TikTok, all of my followers, they're so nice. I have such a nice supportive group, which again is so, so nice. I've never had any hate comments. I've never had anything like that. I've had a couple of random people on TikTok that say, oh, she doesn't look like she tracks up very well when you go in the school. And I just delete the comment straight away. I know why she doesn't track up very well in the school. It's because of her arthritis, but I'm not here to justify why my 24-year-old pony with arthritis doesn't work like an athlete anymore.
Mhm.
So I tend to just delete any little comments that I get like that. I'm not here to prove or to justify why things are the way they are.
Yeah,
But as a rule, all of my followers, they're so supportive. I get so many messages and so many comments when people, when I post those videos, and I get so many messages saying, "Oh my God, that's amazing, well done!" And it's great because I've never even met these people. They are complete strangers to me, but they're so supportive, and that's what I sort of miss and have lacked over the years because I've not had that in-person support group.
Yeah.
Uh, I've had, I've had my partner who's not horsey, so kind of says a lot. I think my dog's quite supportive, maybe.
Mine too, mine too. It's a nice little furry fan club, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, what feels possible for you now that didn't feel possible before?
I wasn't sure whether I was going to say this or not. When I was sort of thinking about the questions, I thought, no, don't say that because we don't know yet. I think the jumping, I think the jumping feels possible. She is honestly, she's a cracking jumper. She loves it. But at the same time, I know she doesn't care if she never jumps again. She's not going to cry herself to sleep because we didn't get to jump today. So I'm very on the fence about it. I think it feels possible because of how confident I feel now when I ride, and the fact that that little cross pole that I did, it was just I'm just going to trot over that because I want to. And it was like, wow, who is this girl? And then going into the cross country field. And, I said on Instagram, the motto of the day was, if it's small enough for me to walk over, then I'll trot over it because that means it's not very big. And that was perfectly fine. And that was in my comfort zone. I was happy. She was happy. What I actually found quite funny is that she actually made the effort to hop over things and not just trot it like a pole. I mean, bless her. These things were tiny. She could have just trotted over them like it was a pole, but she didn't. Um, so obviously I've had two occasions now where I've done something that I never thought I'd do again because of what happened many years ago.
Mm,
I kind of always swore to myself that I would never jump her again. I'd never jump any horse. Jumping's just not for me. I'm just not brave enough to do it. But other things is fine. And obviously, I've had two occasions now this year where I've kind of done it. We've left the ground, no matter how small, we have left the ground. And I think it feels possible, but it's also not something that I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to overthink it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not going to cry about it. And Peg certainly doesn't care if she never jumps again.
yeah.
So yeah, it feels possible, but don't know. It's kind of a grey area. I'm thinking, would it happen? I'm not too sure. If it did, okay, fine. If it didn't, okay, fine. Either way, it's cool.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome, and I just love that that is where your head's at now, where you are like you open up to the possibility of
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we could jump again. Maybe we'll just see what
Yeah.
happens.
But
And
I think not putting any pressure on it, like, me saying if it happens, okay. I'm not even going to say if it happens, great, because is it great? I don't know. For me, I never was like a massive jumper. I think Peg gave me a lot of confidence back in the day because she is like a phenomenal jumping pony.
mm,
So I used to get a lot of confidence from her. Whereas, like, I've never really been massively into jumping. I've always preferred other things. So, yeah, I think the fact that it feels possible, it feels like it's in the distance somewhere. But I don't think it matters if we reach it or not. It's not. She's 24. She's got arthritis. She doesn't need to be jumping this,
yeah.
that, and the other. I certainly don't. I'm not massively interested in jumping anyway. It's just something that we do every now and then for fun. So yeah, the fact that it feels like it's in reach. I'm just not sure about it. It's like I've done it and it was fun, but I don't know if I want to make it a thing.
Yeah.
But if I knew last year that I would be saying this, I'd have laughed in your face.
I love it. Excellent. So, if someone is listening to this episode now and they feel stuck and they feel scared and frustrated and they're doubting themselves and they're beating themselves up because they're doubting themselves and because they're frustrated and scared and anxious and all the rest of it, what would you want them to know?
Um, I would definitely want them to know that if the dream is there, then there's always a way to get to it. I think I posted at the start of this year, it was a video saying, oh gosh, what was it? Like your sat nav. No, what was it about sat navs? It was something about redirecting, but no matter how many times you have to, reroute, you still get there. It might just take a little bit longer. Something along the lines of that. I was actually really impressed with that video. So obviously, if you have that dream like I did, like the dream was there, I just always told myself like just give up on it. You're never gonna get there. It's never gonna happen. But the dream never faded. It was always there. And I think it doesn't matter how long it takes to get there, as long as you're happy, as long as you're, making the progress that you want to make and you're not put under too much pressure, whether that's by like instructors, other people, like friends, family. Do it all at your own pace. But I think as long as you want it to happen, I think it will,
Mm.
because that's exactly what happened for me. And I also saw, this could be quite cheesy. I saw a quote on TikTok that said, if it's been raining in your head for quite a while, think of the flowers that are about to bloom. And I was like, "Oh my goodness, like, I love that so much." So if we can stick that into, like, horsey terms maybe, or, like, on the subject of, like, a journey or, like, a confidence journey. If
Mm.
you feel like you're at rock bottom and you feel like it's raining in your head a little bit, just think about the flowers that could be about to bloom. You just
I
need to
love
hold on to it and keep going, because if I can do it, I don't see why someone else couldn't do it as well. I know that sounds really cheesy. I don't mean it in like a cliche, cheesy way, but
that.
if I can do it, I genuinely believe that anyone could do it as well.
I really, really love that. That's just, yeah, very profound, actually.
I
Think about all
do a lot of research on TikTok.
the only way is up. No, I love that. I think, yeah, like we've said, so many people, you lose hope, and sometimes then you lose the hope, and then you also stop wanting to hope because you think,
Yeah.
you don't want to then have the disappointment of trying.
Yeah.
Actually, if you keep going and you don't stop, then you can't fail.
Yeah.
The 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 proper fail is if you stop and you stop trying.
Yeah.
If you keep going and you keep applying yourself, that's where you learn, that's where you make progress, and that is where you grow, and you can't fail if you keep going. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, there's gonna be setbacks. I've had more than I can even count. There's gonna be setbacks, you're gonna be taking 5 steps forward and maybe 1 or 2 back, but then you get a further 10 steps forwards, and I think as long as you don't change the goal, if
Yeah.
the goal is, "I just wanna ride my horse through a field," like it was for me, I did things along the way that would help, whether that was, Sean would, I mean, last year, that video that I posted, he literally clipped our dog's lead onto me because I was terrified. I was absolutely petrified. But at the same time, I thought, I've chosen to come into this field knowing that I've not ridden this horse in a field for many, many years, and I have no idea what she's going to do or how she's going to behave. We're right next to the motorway, which is a very busy road.
Mm.
Why would I choose to do that? I wouldn't have chosen to do that back then. So, like, finding a positive out of a situation, even if you don't think it was a good situation, like that ride, thinking, "Oh no, I've just been led around the field. How embarrassing!" The fact that I was even in the field, like, goodness, I would never have done that. So I think as long as you
Exactly.
you keep the goal the same and you keep moving towards it, whether you have to take a step back or not along the way, it doesn't matter as long as you keep going,
Yeah.
because you to like do it for you, don't do it for your mum that's shouting at you saying if you don't jump the horse and meet her at this weekend, you're not having your friends over for a sleepover. Do it for you because it's your life, it's your journey. Like you weren't born to please other people. Like if you want to ride your horse through a field, do what you need to do what you can, get help, do this, that, and the other. As long as you get there in the end, it
Mm.
doesn't matter how long it takes,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it's
well,
fine.
yeah,
I
totally
just
agree.
I think people like me, like back then, it was so horrible. Like I hated it. I hated feeling like that. So if honestly, if I could scream it to the entire world, to anyone that felt the same, I would, because it's so much better now. Like I wouldn't even question it going into a field now. It's like second nature.
Mm.
Whereas this time last year, like, whoa, absolutely not. We're not doing that. Get me out of that field. I'm not going in there. Definitely not. I'll walk through on foot, but I'm not riding through it. Absolutely not. Whereas now it's like, that was so silly.
Mm,
Like, look at us now, like, that it doesn't bother me anymore, but it's taken the best part of, like, 5 years maybe to
mm,
get to this point.
yeah.
So, it's nice knowing that we finally got there, even if it took many, many years.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love that you are where you are now. You're feeling so much better. It feels so much more natural. It is your new normal. Your new normal
Yeah.
is to be able to just go and do it and to
Yeah.
not have all of that build up, you know.
All of the crazy, crazy stuff going on in my head, but
Yeah.
I do also think everything is a win as
Mm.
long as the goal is to have fun.
Yeah.
'Cause it's not been an easy journey,
Mm,
like, it's been hard, and there's been so many ups and downs, but from where we were years ago,
mm,
all I wanted was to be able to go out and have fun. I think I said this, didn't I, in, one of our first sessions, like, I just wanted to be able to, if I'm going out for a ride with other people and they wanna have a canter up the hill, I don't wanna be the one that's like, "Oh, no, I'm not doing that, I'm scared."
mm,
To just be able to have fun, and that was always the goal, and we're there, like, we can go out in a group and we can have a canter up a hill. Peg is a little bit, she's a bit like a spring chicken sometimes, like, you wouldn't think she's 24 with how much she shifts up these hills,
yeah.
but the fact that we actually made it, and the goal was never like, for me, the goal was never to be an Olympic rider
Yeah.
or, to be doing all these crazy things. It was only ever to just have fun,
Mm,
and I think everything's a win when the goal is to just have fun, because the slightest thing can be a win,
mm.
and it means you're happy doing it as well.
Yeah. I love that. And that is a great point to end at, I think. Is just yeah, because that's all we wanna do is connect back to that magic of spending time with your
Yeah.
horse and that fun and that joy. That's what it's all about. Not all the other stuff. Forget all the other stuff. You've got at the core of it, that's what we're all after, and I'm so, so happy that that is where you're at now. It's just awesome. Um, so thank you so much for coming and talking about your naff, as it is to say, quote unquote, journey with with me today. Um, before we sign off, if people listening don't already follow you, can you just share where people can find you on the socials, and also just share a little bit about your horsey business as well, so people can find you and find out a bit more about that too.
Yeah, so on Instagram and TikTok, my handle or my main account that I use is That Spotty Horse. Back then I couldn't think of anything else to use, and obviously Peg's a spotty pony, so we went with that. But then I also have my business account, which is Rain Focus Media. I started doing a lot of photography it was last year actually, and that sort of expanded and then kicked off into various videography. And I go to a lot of events. I do private shoots as well. Basically, anything that I would want for my personal social media, I do that for other people. I wish that I could train my partner to use my camera properly so that I can have better content going on my account, but we're not quite there yet. So yeah, it's Brain Focus Media, and that's on Instagram and TikTok as well. They're the only two platforms that I use.
Perfect. Thank you. And I can confirm that you are very good at this, because I have some lovely, thank you very much, still treasure it. Some lovely videos and photos with pegs for my own socials,
But
which
very
I'm
cute.
thankful for.
I know she's not the best at lateral, Liberty work, but she was
Oh,
sweet. She just doesn't know a lot of it because we've never done it before, but
no.
adorable.
It was great. She was such a good girl. She took it really, yeah, she took to it really, really well. And it was a lot of fun. And
It's
I'm,
so
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah, and it was great. So thank you. So thank you for that. I will drop all of your details in the show notes as well, so people can find you.
Right.
And thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
So there we are. I hope you found today's episode helpful. I hope you found it insightful. And if you are listening to this episode and you have felt the way that Valentina's felt, maybe you feel that way now, I hope that this has been inspiring for you. And I hope that it's shown you that you can absolutely turn it around. You deserve to turn it around. And if you need help doing that, if you would like support along the way, then if you follow me on the socials at the Horsemanship and Mindset Coach, send me a DM. Or if you want to email me, I'll drop my email below. It's info@idlewildhorsemanship.com. I would absolutely love to help you. I am now opening applications to work with me over the summer, one-to-one, so I can help you turn this around. Because, like I said, you deserve to enjoy your horse again. You deserve to actually be able to connect to that part of you that loves the magic of horses again, because that's what it's all about. You don't have to stay stuck. And a massive thank you once again to Valentina for coming on, for sharing the story. I am absolutely loving seeing her out gallivanting around the countryside with her horse. She shared at the end of the call, after we'd finished recording, she shared some other goals that she has now, which I'm so excited about, and I can't wait to see her absolutely smash them. So, yeah, that was just great. Thank you so much, Valentina. Thank you for listening. I will be back as normal with another solo episode next week. Have a wonderful weekend.